Welcome back to part 2 of our explainer. Today we are continuing our journey into the absolutely fascinating world of mudras. Now, if you joined us for the first part of this series, you know we've really only just scratched the surface of these ancient gestures. So today, we're diving straight into the language of the hands. We're going to explore the meaning, the practice, and the traditional purposes of the world's most common mudras, all while taking a close look at what modern science actually reveals about them. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the language of hands before moving through gestures of deep meditation, the universal greeting, energy and vitality gestures, and elements and discipline. And then we'll bring it all together in Chapter 6, Wisdom Meets Modern Science.
Chapter 1. The Language of Hands. Let's frame our exploration.
Look, before we start breaking down specific finger positions, we really need to set the stage. There isn't just one single ancient text out there that gives us a definitive list of mudras, because different yoga schools, Buddhist traditions, and meditation lineages describe literally hundreds of unique gestures. We're going to focus purely on the ones most commonly taught globally. For every gesture we look at, we're going to answer 4 key questions. How do you perform it? What is its traditional meaning? Where is it used? And what does modern science actually know about it? We're taking a strict, fact-based approach here, making sure to clearly separate ancient teachings from modern scientific evidence. Moving on to Chapter 2, Gestures of Deep Meditation, Mind and Focus. All right, let's start with Gyan Mudra. This is perhaps the most recognizable mudra in the entire world. Often called the gesture of knowledge, it's actually remarkably simple to do. You just gently touch the tip of your index finger to the tip of your thumb. Keep your other 3 fingers relaxed and comfortably extended, and then just place your hands on your knees with the palms facing upward. The absolutely crucial thing to remember here is that it should feel entirely natural. There shouldn't be any force or tension in your hands at all. Now, watch what happens when we make just a tiny, subtle physical shift to a related gesture. With your palms facing upward, Gyan Mudra symbolizes openness and receiving. But if you simply turn your palms downward to rest on your knees, you form what's called Chin Mudra. Your fingers are doing the exact same thing, yet this one small physical shift changes the meaning entirely. In traditional yoga, it now symbolizes grounding and stability. And you know, this perfectly illustrates the balance we are trying to strike today between history and empirical observation. See, in yogic tradition, the thumb symbolizes universal consciousness, and the index finger represents the individual self. So bringing them together represents a profound spiritual union. Now, on the flip side, modern science absolutely confirms that meditation improves attention and lowers stress. But science traces those benefits to the act of meditation itself, the breathing and the sustained focus, rather than the idea that the specific finger position is independently altering our physiology. Next up is Dhyana Mudra. This is an incredibly calming posture, and you'll almost certainly recognize it from statues of the Buddha seated beneath the Bodhi tree. To do this, just rest both hands comfortably in your lap, placing your right hand gently over your left. Then allow your thumbs to lightly touch, which forms a small triangle. With relaxed shoulders and soft elbows, this overlapping gesture traditionally symbolizes profound stillness, while that little triangle represents ultimate balance.
Chapter 3. The Universal Greeting, Heart and Connection.
I honor the dignity within you. What a beautiful sentiment, right? That perfectly captures the profound traditional meaning behind Anjali Mudra, which most of us know simply as folded hands. When you bring both palms together right in front of your chest, with your thumbs lightly touching your sternum, you are communicating this exact level of respect. It's the gesture you most commonly see paired with the greeting, Namaste. From a cultural standpoint, this gesture is all about respect, humility, gratitude, and really just acknowledging our shared humanity. And here is where it gets fascinating. Modern psychology completely validates the power of this. While it's obviously not a biological mechanism, psychologists recognize this as a deeply effective symbolic ritual. It actively strengthens the emotional connection and social bonding between people. So while the spiritual elements are rooted deeply in culture, the emotional resonance it creates is very, very real. Let's shift gears to Chapter 4, Energy and Vitality Gestures, the body's forces. Traditionally, certain mudras are believed to actually manipulate your body's internal energies. For instance, Prana Mudra, which you form by joining your thumb with your ring and little finger, is said to increase life energy and vitality. Then there's Apana Mudra, touching the thumb to the middle and ring fingers, which is connected to downward energy, elimination, and detox. But what's the scientific reality here? Well, human digestion and energy rely on incredibly complex biological processes. Currently, there is no high-quality clinical evidence showing that holding your fingers in these specific configurations independently alters biological energy or magically detoxifies the body.
Chapter 5. Elements and Discipline. Balancing the Self.
Now, in Ayurveda, mudras are often linked to specific earthly elements. You have Vayu Mudra linked to air, Surya Mudra to the sun, and Varuna Mudra to water. Traditionally, these are believed to do things like balance bodily gases, boost metabolism, or aid in hydration. You've probably even seen claims online saying these gestures can cure joint disorders, cause rapid weight loss, or hydrate your skin. Scientifically, though, we know that weight management requires comprehensive lifestyle changes, and proper hydration depends strictly on, well, actually drinking fluids. These are beautifully rich cultural practices, but we have to be clear that they are not medical cures. But wait, there actually is a really brilliant bridge between these two worlds. Take Shuni Mudra, which is formed by touching the thumb and middle finger together. Traditionally, this is used to cultivate patience, discipline, and self-control. And from a neuroscientific perspective, well, no, the physical gesture doesn't magically generate patience out of thin air. However, using it consistently as a ritual before you meditate acts as a fantastic psychological cue. It literally signals your brain that it is time to focus, working exactly the same way any well-established behavioral routine does. And that brings us to Chapter 6, Wisdom Meets Modern Science. Let's wrap this up. So what is the main takeaway here? Ultimately, mudras have served for thousands of years as incredibly powerful teaching tools and profound cultural symbols. And while the clinical evidence for the therapeutic, medical effects of isolated finger positions is limited, the true, tangible benefits that practitioners feel likely come from the paired meditation, the focused breathing, and the powerful behavioral rituals that these hand gestures anchor us to. They're a gateway to focus. And next time, it gets even more fascinating because we're going to stack the ancient philosophy of chakras and nadis right up against modern neuroscience. I really hope this explainer has given you a clear-eyed perspective on the language of the hands. By understanding both the poetic symbolism of the past and the rigorous science of the present, we can appreciate these ancient practices more fully than ever before. So my parting question to you is this. If a simple physical ritual can mentally signal your brain to find focus, what other small habits could you shape with your own hands today? Thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe to Life Tales for more educational documentaries. And until next time, keep learning, keep thinking, and keep growing.